They almost didn't let me on my flight because they said I don't look like my passport. This is why you should never do hot photos for your passport.
Never.
Because I don't look like this.
Ancient Discoveries, Part 1. The internet went absolutely nuts when archaeologists discovered a 1500-year-old Mongolian mummy that was wearing boots resembling red Adidas trainers. A group of researchers came across this massive claw while digging down a cave in New Zealand. Later on, they confirmed that it was the 3,300-year-old foot of a moa bird, a 12-foot-tall ostrich-like bird that went extinct around 700 years ago. This 2,500-year-old artifact was found in Istanbul, and many believe it depicts a modern-day space capsule. If you had to guess how long ago this elephant died, what would you say? If your answer was 42,000 years, you'd be correct. Lyuba is an incredibly preserved woolly mammoth calf that was found in Siberian permafrost. With their internal organs and skin still intact, Lyuba is by far the best preserved woolly mammoth mummy ever found. This iron helmet dating back to the 10th century was found in Norway in 1943. It's the only complete Viking helmet ever found, and despite popular belief, there was never any proof that Vikings wore horns on their heads.
Imagine losing your life because you mispronounced a word. Well, that's exactly what happened to this little girl here, Lydia Schatz. So Lydia was born in Liberia, which is a small country in Africa in the middle of a civil war that was going on there at the time. Shortly after her birth, she was given up for adoption. When Lydia was 5 years old, that's when the Schatz family came to Liberia in hopes of adopting 3 children. And the family was made up of both parents Kevin and Elizabeth Schatz along with their 6 biological children. And the family's journey to adopt multiple children was even followed by multiple news stations. And eventually the family would return to their hometown of Paradise in California. And shortly after the Schatz family, along with their 3 new adopted children, returned to California, they quickly adopted a religious and Christian lifestyle. And unfortunately, it was not all good. On February 6, 2010, Kevin and Elizabeth called 911 saying that Lydia had stopped breathing. When police arrived to the family house, they discovered that Lydia was not responsive. But not only that, they also discovered that her adopted sister Zaria was also badly injured. Both of the girls were then immediately taken to the hospital. Zaria went on to make a full recovery, but sadly the same could not be said for Lydia. Unfortunately, she passed away at the hospital. And immediately the doctors were extremely suspicious as to how she passed away. And her autopsy ended up revealing something very shocking. It revealed that she passed away due to severe muscle damage caused by physical abuse. Which is something that just doesn't happen with 1 or 2 spankings. It's something that occurs over multiple hours of extreme abuse. And we would later find out that that's exactly what happened. Lydia at the time was learning to read and she had mispronounced the word pulled. Instead of saying the word pulled properly, she had said pulled. And this was said to have sent both of her parents into an absolute rage. They then proceeded to whip her for 7 hours. The father, Kevin, was said to have taken the responsibility for what happened, and he was sentenced to 22 years in prison. And as for his wife, Elizabeth, she was found guilty of voluntary manslaughter and was given 13 years. And even though Elizabeth expressed extreme remorse for what happened that night, in my opinion, 13 years is still not enough. But let me know what you guys think.